Hello and welcome to Edukemy's YouTube channel. My name is Harsh Singh and in this video we shall discuss the feature news for today. That is 1st of February 2022. Today's feature news is on a very interesting and very important topic. The key highlights of the economic survey and some aspects of the budget as well. It will be like an icing on the cake for you because budget was presented today only in the morning and then we have compiled some data around it. Now before that, a very important question that was posed by Amlan here is that what has been the motivating factor for me during my preparation days? A very interesting question, but thank you each of you for posting your answers. It makes me smile, reflect back at my own days. People viewing offline, you also please post what has been the motivating factor for you people, because you know this journey is long. It is like a marathon. It is not a sprint race. It is like a long-term game. And year by year, there is a pre-exam, main examination, and interview, and then there are failures and successes. And there are many times when the motivations are on similar lines, and it can be enlightening to understand each other's motivation. So let me read out some of them. So Somik says that he doesn't know whether his name will be there in the final list, but the horizon of knowledge has increased much more. Horizon for life has increased much more for him. Ravi says that it's the quote that he's inspired from is, the trouble is we think we have time. Ashish says, friends, family, Edukemy team, me, other viewers of the Gazette. See, there is a consistency that is being seen amongst the people who are here, right? And this will sail you through. And Ashish is motivated by each of you who are here. So great, really. People who I have noted down are not present sometimes, and I feel a little inside myself that, yeah, they've missed out on something. Because we are like a Rajdhani Express moving ahead every day. So we get motivated by each other's presence, isn't it? If someday, you know, when I was working from my home, you saw me in the screen at the small corner, I was actually undergoing Corona. I was under the Corona attack, but then I still served. So the point is, I would not like you guys to miss me, and I ensured that I was there. Similarly, the commitment is both ways. So well worth appreciation, Ashish, whatever you have said. Peace Lover says, my subconscious mind motivates me the most because anything external doesn't motivate me. It does, not as much as it does inside. And then Netra says, Netra's mother and Shabir sir and Edukemy team and Gazette. All right, quite a few things. Kriti, Piyasha says, my motivation is my surrounding. I see many things going on and she wants to work for at the ground level. Ashish says, no, they are talking about Dhoni movie. All right. What has been motivating for me during my preparation days is the zeal to serve. The inner aag tha, there was a fire through which I wanted to serve people. Whenever I would see something outside and I could see that probably I could do something about this if I am in power. So this would motivate me the most. There were other motivating factors also. Joblessness was one of them. Right, social prestige was another of them. My family's, the way my family would be seen in society was another of them. But and also there was another one. I had studied in some of the other coaching institute, and they had said that they'd return back all the money if I secured top 10 ranks. And I thought I'll get back all the money that I have spent in coaching institutes. So this was another motivating factor. But nothing surpasses my internal motivation. And when I couldn't clear my examinations, I was all the more happier that I have broader scope to work. And indeed, we are doing the same thing, serving each other, helping each other, right? My agenda, even when I was there, was for holistic fitness. And so we are here, holistic fitness. Right now, the fitness of the intellect level. And I will slowly get on to other levels as well with you guys, right? So this is it. Hey, come on. Nobody is great. We are only working towards each other's support. So moving to the feature news for today. It is on economic survey 2021-2022. See, ideally, before we want to spend money or go and ask our parents, Papa, Mummy, give us some money. I want to spend something, you know, maybe ice cream or buy new shoes for me. We also account for what happened with my previous shoe. So I say, Papa, the shoes is torn and that is why I need some money for new shoes. Papa, I have not eaten ice cream for the last 1 month. I need ice cream. So this is what is the relationship between economic survey and the budget. It's very simple. Before asking for the money, the government asking for the money from the parliament, the storehouse of the money, right? Before asking this money, they present a survey of the whole economy. This is what happened in the economy in the last year, and this is the reason that we need more finances. So what has been happening is that the economic survey has ideally been presented one day before the budget. The budget is the annual financial statement or the proposal for expenditure. These are the keywords that you can use: proposal for expenditure in the forthcoming year or annual financial statement. Budget not only includes the component of money which has to be spent in the coming year. So in this case, 2022 and 23 financial year, from April to March, it is not only that. So this is called as the quick estimate. Quick estimate. This is the first estimate. I will show this to you in another document, because budget is something that we'll keep discussing throughout the year, right? So not only provides quick estimate for what we are going to spend in the forthcoming year, it also provides three other important documents. It provides a revised estimate of the last year spending. Last year, what is the last year? This is the present year, 2021-22. So it provides a revised estimate. Earlier we had thought that we'll spend 10 rupees on shoes, but the spending on shoes was actually 11. So this was the quick estimate which was presented last year, and now they have presented a revised estimate that we thought of this much spending, but we had to spend 1 rupee more because of some factors, right? Corona factor, because I wanted to purchase a branded Reebok shoes undercoats. So point being that this is so another component is presented as revised estimate of the last year, and for comparison they also present the quick estimate of the last year that they had themselves proposed, the government had proposed. This is the third one. And the fourth component of this budget is the actuals. See, this revised estimate is also of this year only, 2022, ending in March 2022, and budget has been presented in February only. So what about the actual data? Actual data will be presented the next year for this particular year. You got me? So these are the four data that are presented in the budget. But before that, before one day of budget, economic survey is presented. This is the situation of the country, right? And largely a neutral survey presented by the finance ministry, and the chief economic advisor in the finance ministry, CEA, they are the one who prepared this document. Earlier it was a two booklet document, and now thankfully they have reduced it to one booklet, so easing work for a lot of us, right? And alongside they have had another document for appendix, right? So some additional resources to be presented there, right? Now the economic survey was presented yesterday, 400 plus 440 pages document, and the budget was presented today, right? Successfully presented in the parliament. So let us quickly understand the components of it. Economic survey had 10 chapters. It has 10 chapters, and each of the chapters they speak about some aspect of the situation of the economy of the country. So state of economy of the country or of India, this is one of the components. Agriculture has been given another component. Then what about the external sector, right? Fiscal measures. What about the industry? Service sector. See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Similarly, there are 4 more chapters on similar kind of themes, and this is what presents the inflation parameters, growth sustenance, right? Climate change. Okay, na? 8 of them. So they presented in 10 chapters each of them, and right here are we presenting the summary of each of them. We will keep representing this data slowly and steadily. All right. So this is it. Let's quickly start understanding the theme. So the theme for this economic survey was this is an agile approach. They say it is an agile approach for the economic survey, primarily because of the times the whole country is going through, the whole world is going through. What is it going through? 3 waves of pandemic, and we didn't know which would be the one which would be the last. We didn't know if the second wave would be the last wave. We didn't know. We still don't know if third wave is the last wave. So such shocks, and these are the times when there has been lockdowns or enforced or voluntary lockdowns, and then people have had to move or businesses have had to shut down. So because of this, we have had to adopt the agile approach for the economy. How is it possible for the economy to grow at a robust pace if there are repeated stalls? Yes, it is possible through an approach like agile approach. So a survey explains that this agile approach is because of the of India's economic response to COVID-19 pandemic. See, there are shortcomings in this also. This can again be criticized, right? Just like the V-shaped recovery that was a part of the survey, it was criticized. It can be criticized with K-shaped recovery. This also can be, questioned on agility. What about the employment figures? What about the informal sector of the economy? What about the rural areas, exclusion details, right? We can just keep on moving, right? We can keep on criticizing this. So this is where our agility lies, to be able to look critically at agility as well, right? But then this is the central theme of this year's economic survey. Let me quickly make you go through the document once, what we have presented, a very, very beautiful summary of this, and then we'll deal with it, right? So first we will understand the state of India's economy, and then fiscal developments in the country, and explain some key terms related to them. So that you understand. See, this is the difference between what we present and what I have seen usually the market has. Market has updates, quick, small, crisp updates, but then providing the foundations. This is something that we do alongside, so that you are able to correlate with the updates and the fundamentals. External sector, that means India's external sector economy, the kind of forex reserve that we have and loans that we carry. External loans, monetary management, fiscal intermediation, prices and inflation, sustainable development, climate change, agriculture, industry, services, and social infrastructure and employment. All right. So these are the 10 components of the economic survey only, and then we are going to discuss each of them. But it will be quick. Don't worry, but it will be interesting as well. So Indian economy estimated to grow by 9%, 9.2% in this year, but they expect a contraction in the next year, 8 to 8.5%. And many people said that this is an underestimation of the growth of the next year. But yes, why is India pegged its next year's growth rate at 8 to 8.5%? It is because of supply side constraints. This was the debate yesterday evening everywhere. Supply side constraints, right? So we will cover this very quickly. What does supply side constraint mean? We do not have a demand side constraint as much. We have supply side constraint, right? Now, if you remember, we had spoken about wholesale price index and consumer price index, right? Do you remember this? Let me show this to you in this graph itself. Usually, the consumer price index goes higher than the wholesale price index. But when the corona pandemic hit us, the wholesale price index went above 10% and consumer price index just around 5 to 6%. So what? See, the basket of commodities or entities in both of them are different, right? In consumer price, we have food items. In consumer prices index, we have service sector. But in wholesale price, the food items are proportionally different, and we have a huge coverage for manufacturing and industry sector. Point being, what is the reason that we are encountering this wholesale price index rise? Is it related to the level of state of India's economy? It actually directly is. This whatever slowdown that we are going through, many experts have said that the slowdown that we are going through, this is not a slowdown particularly because of the pandemic. It started before the pandemic. So slowdown in manufacturing sector, slowdown in auto sector, slowdown in realty estate sector. This was already going on, and to add to this, the corona pandemic added to the supply chain shortcomings. So pandemics happening at different places at different times, this ensured that raw material was not, or intermediate good was not available for production at various production sites, right? Where we are in a globalized economy, this was not available. And because of this, there was inflation at wholesale price level, right? That means the consumer price is the one which we pay, but wholesale price is the price which is at the level of the wholesaler. So the availability of goods at wholesaler level only was not there, it was short. So what led to it? Container crisis around the world, explained here, explained in economic survey, explained in many news items. Container crisis, the big Maersk container goods, if you have seen those in images, right? The ships that they carry, containers, those containers fell short. Many of them were parked at places because of the pandemic, and then movement of items could not happen, right? This is one of them. The other one is the availability of raw materials. So for example, the country like China, supplier of raw material for many items, pharmaceutical goods, for textile goods, for semiconductor industry, for many other related industries. Since China or the East Asian nations were the providers, they could not provide on time because of lockdown issues, because of mobility issues, and this led to wholesale price index rise, right? So this is the reason that we see the wholesale price index shooting up, and then consumer price index, it is still nominal for us, right? So this is one of the state of economy that India has actually gone through, right? So when we look at the forecast for the next year growth, why is it 8 to 8.5%? It is not only because of supply side constraints that we just discussed, it is also because of the possible issues because of the pandemic, right? Availability of now not only supply side, it might lead to demand side constraints in the future. For example, since supply side constraints were there, manufacturing got limited. Since manufacturing got limited, the salaries got limited, people were out of work, no wages paid, and because of this, there has been less demand in economy. See, so it can lead to some other thing, some potential evil in the future, and that is why we did not rate the growth rate at high levels. This has been explained by many experts. This is one thing. Another one is to look at high foreign exchange reserves. Oh wow, why? Because huge FIIs, foreign portfolio investors investing in growing economies like a country like ours. Why India only? Why not China? Why not Vietnam and Cambodia and Indonesia? It is because our economy is informal, our economy is non-digitized, our economy has got a huge scope because our consumption base overall per capita is very less. One of the top populated countries in the world, the potential of growth in India is high. That is why they invested heavily in a country like India. Of course, the rates are only stagnating and it might get reversed in times to come. Bond yield also has changed with time only because of high investment in a country like India, and then RBI converting those investments in foreign exchange reserves and injecting rupee in the in return. So this is one thing about it. We have also increased the targets for exports, right? 4 billion plus exports, 400 billion plus exports. Do you remember this? Do you remember this? So when you look at the parameters here, GDP growth rate 4% minus 7%, and then 9% is this year predicted, this year, the current year, and next year 8 to 8.5. When you look at this 4% growth rate of GDP, this is the slowdown that I am speaking of. When you look at the fiscal deficit, it was still good, 3.4%, 4.6, but see the kind of deficit that happened in the pandemic year. It happened because of two reasons. Fiscal, whenever we are having increased amount of fiscal deficit, right, it is, this one is because not only we have been able to spend more, our earnings also have been less. Spend more and earning less last year. That is why this kind of fiscal deficit in the last year. To add to it, the inflation at wholesale price index, oh my god, right? So this has not hurt the consumers as much. This is hurting who? The wholesalers. They are increasing the tariff sometimes and sometimes not. I also wanted to share one part of it with you, specifically the part that we criticize the government, any of the governments, any party, not the party but the governments, on the oil prices rises, right? And then they raise the taxation and the prices, everything. But look, the prices are touching almost $100 per barrel, $100 per barrel, $95 per barrel. But the prices of oil, petrol have remained almost same, 95 to 105 in the country. So who is bearing the burden this time? Oil marketing companies, right? So somehow or the other, they are still getting indirectly controlled by the central government here, right? Because the chiefs are appointed by the central government. The increase in foreign exchange reserves I indicated, so $650 billion, they can obviously help us if we shortfall of our import burden, right? So this is one. The growth rate in agriculture sector has remained very, very good. See, it has only moved ahead. It was not at all impacted because of corona crisis. Nothing happened. You know why? Because our agriculture was informal, because our agriculture is domestic driven, because not only domestic but export were regular. Food products are essential items. They kept being delivered, right? So this is it. But industrial growth, look at this. Industrial growth, which should have happened at say 8% per annum, this in fact, if you go by Make in India, it should have been 12 to 14% per annum. But I am only talking of 8% per annum. 8% per annum, and it was happening at 5 minus 1.2 minus 7 and then a jump of 11.8. This jump of 11.8 which we are speculating in this particular year, don't think that this is a very good step. Why? Because we have lagged 8% here, 8% here, 8% here. We have lagged 24% and we are making up only 12% of growth. So we are still 12% behind what we should have grown at. Similarly, service sector bouncing back, right? Making a good bounce back, minus 8 to 8% in the in this particular year. This is what has been looked at, right? So this is the state of India's economy. This is how you should look at. But for this to happen, you should also be able to know the basics. For example, the sectoral participation of each of the sectors of economy. Sectoral participation, right, in GDP. What am I talking of? Agriculture. What is the participation rate? So 18% or less than 20%. Manufacturing, what is the participation? And service sector, what is the participation? Service sector is 50% plus, and rest around 30% is manufacturing industry. All right, 55% and 25%. This is how it is, right? The proportion of population engaged in these activities: manufacturing 25%, service sector 25%, and agriculture 50%. You should be well thorough with these kind of data, because that is the base data and this is the updated data of the content, right? This is the state of India's economy. Fiscal developments. One of the most enriching parts of what has happened in the country is that India has increased 35% of capital expenditure for this financial year, the coming financial year, over the last year. And this is a major boost to Indian economy. There was a question asked in the main examination, clearly stated what is the difference between the revenue and the capital expenditure. Revenue and capital expenditure. So we have explained here revenue receipts, capital expenditure. Capital expenditure is the kind of expenditure that is done to develop machinery, capacity for machinery, equipments, building, health facilities, education, etc. All of them, capital expenditure. But what is revenue? You spend on consumable items, something, for example, I'm eating burger. This is revenue expenditure. This is not capital expenditure. I'm spending on salaries of people. It is revenue expenditure again, right? I'm spending on fuel. It is revenue expenditure. But capital expenditure is helping an asset grow so that it can deliver productive results in the times to come. Example, development of skill. Example, fundings in health. Example, building of ponds or lakes so that it can cater to many benefits for the nation and at regional level. So the capital expenditure is what government has proposed to rise, to ensure to rise to 7.5 lakh crores of its expenditure. Right? So fiscal developments, but this is the coming year that I'm speaking of. I'm speaking of the budget. What has been previously done is that capital expenditure has grown overall, but fiscal deficit, it has also grown with time this last year because of the corona pandemic. More of spendings, less of income. Amdani athanni kharcha rupaiya. That is what happened. So should you remember the fiscal deficit, right? Percentage of fiscal deficit as a proportion of the budget estimate, should it be such, or as a proportion of GDP? How should you remember this? Fiscal deficit as a proportion of GDP, this is more used, but you should also be aware that this is around 46% of the total budget estimate. This is where we fell short of, right? But no problem, we had to expend, we did that. This is the fiscal sector. What about the external sector? See, we studied this just a few days back that India's merchandise export has bounced back. We are targeting $400+ billion of export just in the coming times by 2024, right? This is what you're planning. Remember, we had covered the export of electronic industry also, 120 billion by 2026. This forms a component of export. Not only this, agricultural items, manufactured items, petroleum products, IT services, all of them are external sector exports, right? So external sector is not only the level of exports, this is also about the remittances that we gain. India, the highest remittance getter. We also have the 4th largest foreign exchange reserves. We had compared our foreign exchange reserves with China, Japan and Switzerland. China standing around 6 times, more than 6 times our foreign exchange reserves. So $3 trillion is their exchange. And then we have Japan and Switzerland also, right? External sector, what else? So exports, foreign exchange reserves, remittances, and the kind of debt, external debt. So India's external debt is 20% to GDP. You should know this. 20% of GDP. Loans, interest payments, right? Foreign bonds, all of them, right? And then what are foreign exchange reserves? Are they only the money that we contain, the American dollars? No, not only that. We also have gold reserves. We also have SDRs, special drawing rights, the currency of IMF. And then we have some reserve money kept in IMF also. So this is the external sector, presenting a very, very good picture for our country, right? External sector related to India, but external sector in general, it is very, very fragile as of now. For example, the oil prices in the world market, the availability of supplies in the world market. What about the geostrategic implications of these wars or potential crises, right, where we have to choose a stand? So this is a bleak situation, but India's external situation setting is very good. All right, receiving the advantage of corona pandemic. Monetary management and fiscal intermediation, right? So here we talk of the NPAs. NPAs have decreased with time because of increased provisioning. The banks had put aside some money so that they can, this money cannot, the effective NPA reduces, right? So this is what it is. And capital to is risk weighted ratio, CRAR, it also increased with time, and this is a good sign. Price and inflation, as I explained previously, the WPI has increased substantially, CPI has remained around 6%, but it is not so that it will be like this. This is definitely going to affect the consumer prices also in times to come, right? This is the reason that government needs more spending so that it spurs jobs, so that there are more savings with people. Savings will initiate reinvestment in the economy, and more jobs will also ensure more consumption, right? So this is the reason that right now wholesale price index, the inflation is rising, but it might lead to rise in consumer price index inflation as well. The prices of these products, right, CPI low and WPI, it also confuses the government which sector to incentivize, which sector is the one where payment has to be nominalized by the government, right? So these are the kind of divergences that have happened. We have covered this in a featured news completely altogether, explained again in the economic survey. Regarding sustainable development and climate change, the government speaks of a very, very important keyword. It says, Prime Minister has repeatedly said, right? So decreasing the unthoughtful expenditure and increasing the thoughtful recycling of products. Lifestyle for environment. Please, it's a kind request. Remember this. Just like, doubling of farmers' income, just like, many other things, right? Make in India, Atmanirbhar Bharat. This is the word that you have, new word that you have, lifestyle for environment, right? Sustainable development and climate change. So, the finance minister in her speech also spoke of, budget speech also spoke of the Panchamrit. You should remember the Panchamrit as well. So we have, our forest area has also increased, overall score in the forest area has increased in the world, right? Plastic waste management rules have been amended, extended producers responsibility. So this is sustainable development, Panchamrit. Remember that, that's it. Right? Agriculture and food management. Agriculture contribution to GDP around 18%. Minimum support price policy. This is in that the growth of industry and manufacturing is not happening. But yet, if we have to speak about something here, we will speak about Gati Shakti. Now, this was proposed last year. We will speak about national monetization pipeline, national investment, national infrastructure pipeline. Both of them, infrastructure pipeline and monetization pipeline, both of them are important for infrastructure development in the country, and they also are a part of industry sector. So important announcements also were made about Indian Railways, right? So this is a budget proposal that I'm speaking of, but this was the economic survey. It spoke of some expenditures which have increased in the Indian Railways. PLI scheme in 14 industries, right? Services sector, this has done well, right? We saw this growth in services sector, right? It only fell down last year, but then it picked up again. So my speculation was that, my personal speculation was that the growth in the services sector, my speculation last year was this, that the growth in services sector would not happen as fast. Contrary to what we see, I had expected that most of the service sector demand is from the financial hubs of the world, or the IT or ITES services, information technology enabled services, from developed countries like USA and European Union region. So since these countries are also reeling with these kind of demands, therefore India would not be able to get that kind of business. This is what I had expected. But the truth is that many of the companies, they also changed their model of operation. A lot of things became automated. People looked for better opportunities, and the demand from these countries were also not from anyone. No, it was from the best of the best in the market. So therefore it quickly brought back the service sector to its feet, Indian service sector, right? Analysis, my speculation proved wrong, incomplete. So this is the service sector update from here, right? Services export surpassed pre-pandemic levels. On the other hand, our manufacturing sector has not come back to pre-pandemic levels, right? What about the level of Indian startups, the number of unicorns that we created this year, right? So we have 10,000 startups plus created in the last 6 months only, and 60,000 startups in our country. We are only behind a couple of countries, USA and China, for having the number of startups in the world. Oh, great. Social structure, social infrastructure and employment. See, the employment, we studied, no, the conundrum or confusion on employment, right? Somebody says employment is increasing, somebody says it is decreasing, somebody says quality is increasing, formalization is happening, somebody says no, it is not happening. So employment is one place where we need to start focusing because of the demographic dividend potential of our country, because of increasing population, mid-age population in our country. If we don't increase the employability in our country, then the people will not be able to find jobs. On the other hand, we speak of automation. This is the dichotomy. Automation. We speak of artificial intelligence. This is only going to reduce jobs. No. Look at the jobs at simple fast tag centers, the places where we are on the highways. This is all automated. This job was earlier done by humans. What about the parking tickets? All got automated. Not only this, look at many other places, ticketing facilities in movie halls. It was physically done, now through Book My Show. Many examples you would be able to see that this automation has resulted into losing of jobs by people, right? What is required here is not a vertical structure in which automation happens, but a horizontal structure in which automation is able to provide services through various different variety of products. If the jobs are, if vertical automation is happening, it will reduce jobs in this sector. But if horizontal level of automation is increasing, it will ensure that people participate in newer industries. There is more diversification, new kind of services and structure available. So social infrastructure spending, this is what government has increased, right, during times of COVID. Employment also. So TFR has decreased. Har Ghar Jal, this is only increased through tap water, provisions. So this is a quick understanding of the economic survey. The question for today is, discuss the major findings of economic survey related to sustainable development in agriculture. If I cut this part out, and if I say discuss the major findings of economic survey, and after that I attach each of these 10 sectors, for God's sake, please go beyond what we have written here. If I have said Panchamrit, then go get into Panchamrit and talk about sustainability and climate change. Not only life, talk about all of it. If we talk about industry sector, so speak about all the things that could be related to industry sector. This is how we discuss the major findings. And then we talk about agriculture, start talking about unemployability also, start talking about disguised employment in the country. So each 10 of them should be there in your list. Discussion of major findings of economic survey. Put this report and gain the data from here. Remember ADEC. So if you are able to cover all these 10 sectors, imagine that your economy is actually done. If you know the keywords, look at the questions of this year only, last year only, you will realize that a lot of components will get covered only through this kind of document, the survey that we have presented here. Keywords, data, examples, analysis, or case studies. Analysis will keep happening throughout the year through editorials that we study. All right. So this is it, but it's not over yet. let me show you another document of the budget. Some important updates. I'll keep using this every time. Beautiful document presented by the government itself. Now, this was the economic survey that I covered, and this is the budget that has been presented by the parliament. Now, in the budget, they have spoken about the Amrit Kal. Do you remember what it is? Amrit Kal? Azadi ka Amrit Mahotsav, 75 years of independence right now. But the president also said, lot needs to be done to focus on the year 2047. Why 2047? 100 years of independence. And Amrit Kal is the period that they are calling the period between 75 years and 100 years of India's independence, Amrit Kal. So we have a perspective plan or a goal for the next 25 years. They have divided it into 4 components, 4 important components. What are they? The growth to be done through PM Gati Shakti, that means infrastructure gaining capacity, and there are 7 sectors of Gati Shakti that they have picked up. Inclusive development for people, social infrastructure, social development, all of them. The third one is productivity enhancement, sunrise opportunity. Oh, keyword, sunrise opportunities. Climate action, and the fourth one is financing of investments. How will they happen, right? So 4 components of this have been presented in the budget document, and this is how the government has asked for money from the parliament. See, look at this, the kind of resilience that India's economy has. You guys there, no? Let me see if there are questions here. Hima says, these evening sessions help me a lot. Finally, I can see I'm not alone in this. Yes, nobody is alone. We are all there with you. And you people are the community here, dear. Right? So thank you, sir, for keeping the classes so much interactive. Welcome, Hima. Welcome. These are my learnings. I'm also improving day by day. Tiash, I agree with you, Somik. All right. So can you tell me something about the subcontracting in manufacturing sector, which is highly informal, and how industries use it as a tool to get tax reduction? Absolutely. We'll talk about this. This is a gray area. This is a gray area of industrial development where contract labor is being utilized for creation of products. The private industry is not participating by giving those contract laborers or outsourcing of the work the social benefits, the benefits that they deserve under many labor laws, because they are in the gray areas, yet the prices are reduced for them, the expenditure is reduced, the product is delivered to the people. So this is a good thing to talk about. Subcontracting in manufacturing sector, we'll talk about it. Kriti says, I have certain goals, push myself. All right. Sam says, semiconductor supply issue. All right, good, thank you. Absolutely good. Somik says, main reason was supply constraint, monopoly, hoarding, short raw material production. Absolutely good, Somik. Very good point. So when you look at shortage supply of raw material, you have to present the shortage where. Give the example of oil seed, give the example of pulses shortage, give the example of cotton shortage with proof, right? And and supply constraints, give the example of semiconductor industry, right? Hoarding, give the example of food products. Monopoly, absolutely. Nitish, hi Nitish. Chip manufacturing limited with the hampered mobile sale. Good, thank you. Nice to see you guys responding here. Ashish says Chennai Super Kings is the first IPL team unicorn. All right, perfect. All right, moving to the next one here is Somik Netra. You guys say all right. So please provide this PDF. This one I'll provide the link on the group. You will be able to access this PDF. All right. All right. How can we achieve 5 trillion economy in the correct tax regime? Oh, good question. So Ravi has his question again. How can we achieve 5 trillion economy with this tax regime? Criticism of taxation regime in the country, absolutely agreeable. We'll cover this. So right now, I want to show you this. The government has itself presented that look at the resilience of the economy. The Q1 of 2020, right? I'm talking the month of April, May, which was under lockdown. And at the end of May, we opened the lockdown, right? And look at the time when the production was so less, but it quickly picked up. What picked up the production? Yeah. The availability of gross value added, it shot up again. Second wave, it went down again, but it was not as bad as the first wave. The social impact was very high in second wave of the corona, but the impact on economy was not as bad because the first one was a full lockdown, full closure, and then second one was not as bad as the first one. So recovery of the economy reflective of country's resilience to pandemic. Right? This transition has been good for some sectors and not good for some sectors. Refer to the K-shaped recovery. Right? Look at this image. We are talking of vaccination coverage, government data, and we have covered many people. We have covered 90+% of population first time vaccinated for the eligible ages, and 70% coverage twice vaccinated right now. So this is one thing that is leading to better economic recovery in our country, right? Look at the trends in deficit. Beautiful document. Trends in deficit. See, the fiscal deficit was only reducing with time, only reducing 3.9, 3.5, 3.4, and again it shot up to 9.2%. But see, look at the kind of foresightedness of our economic, stalwarts. They said that they will ensure that the budget deficit comes down to 6.8% for this fiscal. And you know what is the level of budget deficit right now? It is 6.9% only, just 0.1% higher than expected. So they have expected that this will further come down to 6.4% in the next year, right? There was an NK Singh committee and it said that the fiscal deficit will reduce with time. Nobody knew Corona would happen, right? So fiscal deficit, revenue deficit, it all increased, jumped, shot up, and you can see the result here. All right. Now, in case you have questions on these facts like fiscal deficit, revenue deficit, effective revenue deficit, and what is the other one? There's another one. There are 4 of them. So in case you have questions on this, budget deficit, budget deficit, these 4 will cover them. But for that you have to type if you have a doubt on this or not. All right. Look at the quarterly capital expenditure. This is one of the very, very good things for a country like India. We have increased our capital expenditure spending. You know the difference, no? Capital and revenue expenditure. If the expenditure in capital has increased with time, right, this means that we are creating assets for future. These assets will be mobilized for ramped up production. What assets? If it is you yourself who exercised well in the year, you are the resource. You will be producing better capability resources. If we ramped up production by gaining an imported machinery, this is going to increase our production in the country, right? So this is where we are looking at those industries which India is trying to set up, right? For example, the battery industry, solar industry, chip industry. Here is the interesting image of the CPI and WPI. CPI, all right, good. WPI went low, fine, but shot up after corona pandemic. Supply side constraints. This is the prime difference between the crisis, the global crisis of 2008 and global crisis after corona pandemic. This crisis was a demand side crisis, yeah, the 2008 crisis. And corona pandemic is a supply side crisis. People still wanted the goods. People wanted services. It was not available. Cars not available, right? Medicines not available. We have gone through this. But 2008 crisis was demand crisis. Started with the auto industry, real estate, and then everything. There was shorter demand because the bubble of economy, it burst. And mind you, this is another quick analysis from my end. We are going to see a bursting of a bubble very soon again. Bursting of a bubble very soon again. The economy cannot shoot itself like this so suddenly. But let's see if it actually happens, if I am again, held wrong. Then again, various other indicators like increase in foreign exchange reserves. You all know why it is so, right? Because of increased FIIs happening in India, foreign institutional investors investing in a country like India, right? Then subscriptions to many other schemes. This is Prime Minister's Gati Shakti, right? So this is where the whole budget document is placed, and in the coming pages they explain the whole process in which budget, how it has been planned, how spendings have been planned in each of the other sectors, right? So we will discuss this, each of them one by one, but not today. For today, only a few keywords for you. I have myself written this down. Note it down if you want to. One keyword is Amrit Kal. 75 to 100 years for India, right? So increase in level of privatization will be required, and bad banks have started. This will create a multiplier effect in the country, right? More finances, multiplier effect. Use this multiplier effect as a positive word. Use the snowball effect as the negative word. All right. 4 priority areas, as I mentioned, right? These 4 priority areas that I showed you the diagram of. We are also going to initiate unified logistics interface platform. This will be a website on which we will know where is our product, where is the logistics right now, where is it going to go in the times to come, the complete of it, the complete integration of all of them, railway, air, road traffic, water traffic, all of them. We are also going to initiate Parvat Malas for the first time. So Bharat Mala, right? And then we have Sagar Mala, and then now we have a Parvat Mala. What is this? So Parvat Mala is the chain of ropeways that we are looking forward to for the mountainous regions where ecological conservation is important, where tourism is important, where the construction of bridges is unviable. So Parvatmala, all right, ropeways. Kisan drones. So drone as a service will be available, right? Software, SaaS, software as a service. Similarly, drone as a service, Kisan drones, right? Digitization of records. Thank you. Thank you, Hima or Kriti. Either of you had mentioned those keywords on this, right? So all of them, Kisan drones will be used to give digital land records to people, crop assessment, insecticide, nutrient, agricultural syllabus in universities for zero budget natural farming, all of them, right? Irrigation projects, 5 of them will be initiated. Similarly, drone Shakti, drone as a service. This is the keyword here. Now we will be, see, one part for education which the government has forced on is regional languages. So in 200 TV channels, through 200 TV channels and regional language, government will want to ensure that supplementary education be provided to children. Supplementary education. What is supplementary? This is not the actual education in schools, but they will be educated through TV channels, radio programs, internet, mobile phones, all of them in regional language. This is what government has looked at. National Digital Health Ecosystem. Remember, account aggregator. This is the account aggregator I was speaking of. They have declared it. National Digital Health Ecosystem. Account aggregator in finances, aggregator in health system. They have spoken of here. Right? Then we are also, the finance minister also spoke of Saksham Anganwadi. You have to start using these words. Saksham Anganwadi. These are upgraded Anganwadis with digital services, better resources, climate neutrality will be maintained here, and clean energy technology will be used. And 2 lakh of these will be upgraded. 2 lakh Anganwadis will be upgraded. Har Ghar Nal Se Jal. Right? This is one of the programs which will receive thrust. Water availability, water infrastructure. PM Awas Yojana, this is a part of infrastructure development, and there is a separate initiative which is going to come, PM Development Initiative for Northeast region. This is in addition to all the projects running. States which demand of certain finances or support in projects, those projects will be focused here. Something new will be taken up, but it will be not a replacement for the older projects, right? Then border area village development will be taken up under Vibrant Village program. Vibrant Village program. All post offices will be integrated with the bank, just like the bank accounts, and they'll be part of the core banking system. All the bank accounts were linked, and this system is called as core banking. We'll be able to link all post offices accounts also with banking. So people who have post offices account, they can transfer money, they can utilize all the facilities of banking, post office upgradation. All right. Many laws have been repealed, many laws, and the primitive level of compliances that we had in our country, they have been reduced in the last few years. This is a good step for governance, ease of doing business in the country. IT bridges, information technology bridges, use this keyword, beautiful keyword. Parivesh is a one-stop portal for environmental clearances. They are also going to ramp it up, make it better than right now. They know, the minister spoke that there will be 50% of urban population in the country by 2050. So 2047 is India at 100 years of independence. By that time we'll have 50% population. So we need to look at tier 2 and tier 3 cities also. Tier 1 cities is 1 lakh and above population. Tier 2 cities are 50 to 99,000 and tier 3 cities are 20 to 50,000 population. So planning of these cities has to be done. How do you do that? Remember those the geospatial mapping I showed? That is one of the key ways. All right. Then special mobility zones will be created in these kind of cities where zero fossil fuel policy will be used. Zero fossil fuel, only clean energy resources to be used. Land parcel, land resources, right? Digital IDs for land. Dispute resolution has to be done, right? Advance payment for government's services. If government has given some services, they will be paid earlier. And there was a very good keyword used, that is initiation of AVGC भैया ये पूरे साल का डेटा है. This is all for you for the whole year. Animation, visual effects, gaming, comic sector. A task force will be established because India sees a huge potential in animation, visual graphics, gaming, and comic sector. Right. So making it interactive for students, making interactive for the whole industry. 5G spectrum to be completely auctioned this year. Right. What else? 70% capital, yes, defense equipments. This is important. These are important excerpts from the finance minister's speech I have picked up. 70% of capital expenditure for indigenous industries only, right? So all the capital expenditure that the government is spending in defense industries, if it is, say, example, 100 crore rupees, 70% of capital expenditure, right, on procurement of the items, this 70% will be spent only for indigenous industries that are here in India. Earlier it was 60% last year. Now they have raised it to 70%. We will also be utilizing the production of sunrise industry capabilities: space economy, artificial intelligence, geospatial, semiconductor, pharma, green energy, clean mobility, genomics. Sunrise industries, right? Evergreen industries. Use these keywords. What is an evergreen industry? Shoemaking industry is an evergreen industry. Umbrella industry is a evergreen industry. Pen industry, evergreen industry. Tire industry, always going to remain. No matter what kind of vehicle we drive, automated, cycles, or manual geared, or clean energy, but tire is always going to be used. Those are evergreen. What is a sunrise industry? These are industries which are going to prosper in the coming times. We are going to spend more here. All right. I'm being fast here, but I'm going to cover a lot of it in the times to come. So nothing to worry here. Circular economy transition, we spoke of this keyword. Increasing of biomass pellets, right, in thermal power plants. And we also spoke of a virtuous cycle of public investment initiated by public investment, and later on private investment we will be crowded in. That means that if we ask for anybody to put in their money, right, they will not right away trust. No, the first thing is that the government needs to spend. So government has said that we will spend maximum 20% in many of the sunrise sectors, and rest the private sector will be spending. So government will have some money fixed here. Loss hoga. If there is loss, government will also face the loss, and that is the reason that private sector will also come in, because they now trust that yes, government's finance is also stuck here, right? So this is what one important part is that now cryptocurrencies will be taxed at 30%, right? Any transfer of cryptocurrencies will be taxed at 30% standard, and India will also initiate digital rupee, central bank digital currency, cryptocurrency. That's it. Right. That is it about the budget speech. This is it about the economic survey data that we covered right now. And mind you, these are very, very important details, and this is a 400-page document. We have summarized it for you. And the budget, we will keep covering excerpts of it, or parts of this in some or the other videos and documents. This is not my document. This has been generated by the Government of India, and I will share this resource with you. Nothing to worry on that front. All you got to do is be a part of this and note down these important details, because they become a very, very important part of GS paper 3. You can utilize fragments of it in paper 1, paper 2, everywhere. You will see this once you start remembering this data and looking at the question papers, previous year question papers, right? If you like this initiative, share some love through likes. उसमें कमी नहीं होनी चाहिए, है ना? Likes, comments, and shares, and bless us through this so that we keep on running these initiatives for you, and even better ones. All right. We have Pet Center column says, sir, can you please put a single page content of economic survey sum up? Single page. There are 10 chapters, 440 pages. We will cover some aspects some or the other time. We'll keep covering this. Don't worry. Nitish says, sir, PLI is kind of subsidy harming the balance. What is the take? Is it positive or negative? Oh, good one. See, production linked incentives, PLI, has been questioned by the WTO in international fora. Many countries are providing many kind of incentives to their industries. USA is still providing incentives on solar panels. China is providing incentives in cotton industry, sugarcane industry, wheat industry, maize industry, all of them. So is India. So, production linked incentive is also a kind of similar subsidy program. and this has been objected to by World Trade Organizations against India. India had been popularizing, no, we'll increase the level of our export by $400 billion, $600 billion in the times to come with these kind of schemes. If you popularize this is hampering international competition in export of products. Yes, it is. So India slowly and steadily reduced down strategically talking about PLI, although they give PLI, but so these are the kind of politics that happen. All right, this is Nitish. All right, Somik says, sir, apart from topic, what will happen for non-compliance of FRBM? Any penalty of anything? They will amend the FRBM Act. Fiscal Responsibility and Budgetary Management Act will be amended. It has been amended so that we comply with the newer levels now. This is we had to do this. Increased spendings had to happen, Somik. So amendment to Act will happen. Ravi says, one class, one TV channel. Yes, Ravi, one class, one TV channel. This will be expanded to 200 channels. Supplementary classes for school children. Good. 5 river linking project. Yes, 5 river linking project will be there. And those rivers are Godavari, Kane Betwa 1, Godavari and Krishna 1, right? And then we have Kaveri and Pennar and Krishna and another river, right? I will keep covering them. Nothing to worry. Battery swapping policy. Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Bhamani, Netra, Amlan, Peace Lover, Kriti. Welcome. Hima, this is a very insightful conversation that we had today. If you like this initiative, share some love through likes, comments and shares. And do remember that I have seen you people developing here in the last 2-3 months. It is only because you people have started to remembering those keywords. Do not stop this activity. Do this for 6 months, remembering activity, and you will realize that this retains with you for a very, very long time, at least till the time you clear the exam. And one thing more, who has prepared this document, economic survey? Who prepares the speech of the finance minister? It is the civil servants who do this. You will be accustomed and habituated to this language, statesman or state person's language. Right now, you are only learning it. We are also learning it. The point being, these are the keywords. Please use them. Start using them. All right. All right, Somik, Tiyasha, Ashish, thank you. And I hope that this has been a good session. We will keep covering interesting sessions like this. Economic survey and budget cannot be covered in one video, but excerpts and important components of it can be. There are components which I have left, some illustrations which I have left to show you. We will keep repeating that so that it gets stored in your mind. So thank you for participating. We will see you in the current affairs video tomorrow evening. All right. Thank you for appreciation. Good night. Other people watching offline, please put down the inspiration which makes you carry on your civil services preparation journey. Thank you and good night.